Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Amira Karim and I lead Amazon's Global Payments Public Policy team. Thank you so much to the Emerging Payments Association of Asia for this honor. EPAA has consistently created space for serious cross-sector dialogue, and at a moment like this, that kind of industry platform is not ceremonial, it creates infrastructure. In my opinion, we are entering a phase in payments where collaboration between regulators, financial institutions, platforms, marketplaces, technologists, and trade communities is no longer optional. Payments now sits at the intersection of finance, artificial intelligence, trade policy, national security, and digital infrastructure. No single actor can meaningfully navigate this transition alone, which is why we need organizations like EPAA. From my observation, there are three forces that are reshaping the landscape simultaneously: automation, programmability, and sovereignty. First, onto automation. We are moving into an era of agentic commerce. Artificial intelligence systems will increasingly search, negotiate, allocate capital, manage treasury timing, and initiate payments within defined mandates. In many cases, humans will design the parameters, but machines will execute the transactions. This compresses the policy timeline. In a batch-based world, risk unfolded gradually. In a real-time automated world, risk propagates instantly. Fraud, liquidity misallocation, or operational failure can scale at machine speed. The regulatory challenge therefore sits from permissioning innovation to designing accountability frameworks that operate continuously and proportionately. Who bears the liability when an AI initiates a payment incorrectly? How is consent defined in automated environments? How do we ensure transparency without reintroducing frictions that undermines competitiveness? The second theme is programmability. It is interconnected with the first theme, in my opinion, of automation. Money itself is becoming more functional. Stablecoins, tokenized deposits, and programmable settlement instruments introduce logic into value transfer, enabling conditional payments, automated escrow, embedded compliance checks, and time-bound liquidity releases. For SMEs, this is not speculative experimentation, neither is it something that is far off. It has tangible implications for working capital and cross-border trade. Imagine an exporter receiving payment automatically upon verifying delivery, a marketplace seller embedding FX thresholds directly into settlement logic, a treasury system allocating liquidity dynamically based on real-time exposure. However, programmability intersects directly with sovereignty. When value moves continuously across borders and on programmable rails, states examine implications for monetary control, systemic stability, and external dependency. And we are now seeing geopolitical divergences influencing these frameworks. Transatlantic tensions is one example, particularly between the EU's codified approach to stablecoin regulation and a more fragmented enforcement-led environment in places like the United States, are shaping how institutions structure products and where liquidity pools are going to reside. Sanctions regimes, data localization requirements, and strategic autonomy debates are no longer abstract policy discussions. They directly affect payment corridors and capital allocation. For SMEs, the impact is practical. Settlement delays, increased compliance scrutiny, de-risking by correspondent banks, higher FX spreads, greater liquidity uncertainty. It is within this environment that stablecoins are being explored, not primarily as ideological alternatives to fiat, but as liquidity continuity tools or instruments. They function as settlement abstraction layers when traditional corridors become slow or politically sensitive. Businesses optimize for predictability, and when predictability weakens, alternative mechanisms gain relevance. However, fragmentation, as you all know, carries risks. If regulatory responses become overly defensive or jurisdictionally rigid, activity does not disappear. It migrates, often into less transparent channels. The policy objective should therefore be to create credible, well-supervised pathways for programmable and tokenized settlement models to operate within trusted frameworks. It leads now to the third theme of sovereignty. Payment sovereignty cannot be defined solely by control over instruments. It must also be measured by economic outcomes. Can SMEs move money safely, cheaply, and predictably across borders? Can liquidity circulate efficiently in support of trade? If the answer is no, sovereignty may be technically preserved but economically diminished. Asia really stands at the precipice here and has a distinctive opportunity in this environment. This region has sophisticated instant payment systems, high digital adoption, and a vibrant trade corridor across many multiple regions or subregions. It is positioned not merely as a rule taker between transatlantic blocs, but as a pragmatic architect of interoperability. That means regulating by function and risk rather than legacy labels. It also means aligning supervisory clarity with innovation incentives. And it means treating cross-border settlement as shared economic infrastructure, akin to trade facilitation, which the region has mastered, rather than purely as a compliance perimeter. Looking ahead, I see three durable shifts. First, that regulation will increasingly focus on functions and accountability, particularly in automated and agentic environments. Second, programmable money will move from experimentation to embedded infrastructure, especially in SME trade and platform ecosystems. And third, competitiveness will be tied to liquidity reliability. Jurisdictions that enable predictable cross border settlement, even amid geopolitical fragmentation, will attract commerce and innovation. The future of payments is really up to us and cannot be defined by a single rail or technology. It will be defined by whether we can align automation, programmability, and sovereignty within a coherent governance framework. That alignment requires collaboration, and EPAA's role in fostering that collaboration is precisely why forums like this really matter in this day and age. The rails are evolving, and so must our coordination mechanisms with equal intent and intensity. Thank you so much for having me.